As the early morning sun burns through the fog and the mist of the night before, a classic rallying scene greets us. That man, Damien Cole, won this event last year. He won the championship as well. He can't do that this weekend, but he'll be pushing hard, and he needs to push hard, because what an entry. 6 out of the top 10 championship crews are here this weekend for round 6 of the 2013 REIS Get Connected MSA Asphalt Championship. The event signs Mewla Rally.
The Mewla marks the second visit to the Epping Ranges for this season, and despite some of the route being the same, there were some changes to mix things up for the returning crews. The opening loop of stages would see an early lead from Epping veteran Peter Lloyd with Carl Sorensen. The pair open up a 9-second lead after 3 stages. For Damien Cole and Tim Surla it would be second, but second wasn't where they needed or wanted to be for the championship, so there would have to be a look at the strategy for the next loop of stages.
Damien, you set the pace last year. How are you finding it so far?
Yeah, I think we had a good first loop then. 3 stages seemed good. We pushed really hard all the way through. So it'll be interesting to see what the times look like, but it's just going to be flat out all day today.
It would be a familiar story for John Andrew and Peter James. The pair struggle with the setup of the car and will need to try and change a few things ahead of the next stages if they want to remain competitive.
Flat right to trees, 300 line. Caution! Crest 4 right to turn square left gravel. Crest 4 left. 4 right, sorry. Turn square left gravel. Flat crest 30. Caution! Jump crest. Slow up. And crest keep right. 30 long 7 left. 30 turn square right. Flat crest 100. Crest jump, ease up. 4 right. 3 left.
John, it's got to be perfect conditions for a Darien, hasn't it?
It is, but I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what I've just done on that. You don't know what the times they did on that stage, no? What? No, we don't know. But I just didn't wake up this morning. I don't know. The back end feels a bit loose, so maybe we went too soft a tyre. But you can't spin. That's the trick. So not as good as I'd hoped. But let's see. Maybe we did say on the new road. One of those two caught each other, I think, a bit. Did they or not? Do you know which way round was?
I don't know which way round.
Because we could see 2 in the distance, but.
It would be a good start for Stephen Simpson and Patrick Walsh on the opening stages. They start off with the lead of the event, only to lose it with a spin on stage 3, pushing them down into 4th place for now.
Steve, the Tyneside didn't end how you'd have wanted it to, and it looks like there's damage to the car already on this one.
Yeah, we spun the car in there, just coming out of the German village, probably lost 20 seconds in there, so I think we was up on the first 2 stages as well, so we just got it all to play for now, and Damien has a bit of a moment.
Ashley Field and Ian Taylor sit in 5th place, the Darien pair having a good run following their Tyneside stages mishap. Things look to be back on track for the pair, with no major issues to report.
3 down, how's it going so far?
It's alright, I think we made the correct tyre choice this morning, so yeah, we had a bit of a moment on stage 1, we got it slightly wrong over crest and had a bit of excursion down the grass, but other than that we've settled in alright, so we'll see how it goes on this next loop.
Things seem to be improving as the season goes on too for Mark Worley and Michael Stewart. The pair settle into 6th place at this stage, and with only one small incident at a chicane, seem to be having a clean and tidy run so far.
Mark, 3 stages in, how's it going for you?
Yeah, not too bad. We had a slight run on at a chicane because I put my foot on the brake and the throttle at the same time, and I wonder why it didn't stop quite as good as it should do. But apart from that, I say we nearly caught the 2 cars in front as well, so that was a good stage for us.
This morning's stages would be all about settling in for John Stone and Elliot Edmondson. As they get used to being back out in the car on the stages, they start the morning off in 7th place and just 1 second behind Worley at this stage.
John, you've been so unlucky all year. Are you having a bit of luck so far here?
Yeah, it seems to be going okay. We've come to learn at Epping. We sort of always miss a couple of rallies a year, so steady away for us. See if we can get to the end.
Brake problems on the opening 2 stages were not good for the times of Washington James and Paul Williams, but they managed to fix the issue and have a better run on the 3rd stage and end the loop in 8th overall.
Washington, our joint championship leader, coming into this event. How's it gone for you?
Not so good. First 2 stages we didn't have front brakes. We seem to have sorted it out now, so we should be alright from here on.
No front brakes is not what you want on Epping.
So no, it was terrible. So we lost a lot of time on 1 and 2, but I think the 3rd one was alright.
And it would be a return to the stages for Roger Hicks and Richard Suter. Problems getting the new car to run how they wanted would have haunted them on previous events, but things seem to be looking good here this weekend.
And 4 left, crash jump 60, 5 right tightens, and 1 left over 2 crests, 100, 1 right, middle over jump 150, jump 1 left, 2 right, 4 left long, so 4 left long, 40, 2 right, 5 right, 6 right, 6 right here, and 5 left over finish, and 5 left.
Tyre choice issues would be the order of the day for Bob Fowden and Elgin Davies. An unusually slow start for the previous Mewla Rally winner was a sign of these problems. They round off the top 10 at this stage. And it would be once again an unfortunate end for Rob Tout and Don Holly. More problems with the car forced the reigning Group N champions out of the event for a 2nd time in as many outings. In the classes there would be just 1 crew in N3, the Fiesta for Carwyn Watkins and Sharon Roberts. After seeing him on the Manx, it would be returned for Conor Corkill and Mark Perryman this weekend, this time in the N4 class in the Subaru Impreza. They lead the class at the moment by a significant margin. Second in that class would be the Impreza of Julian Barnett and Chris Williams, the pair having a good run on the morning stages. Just the 1 crew in Class A6 as we see David Earthy and Den Golding out battling the stages for that class victory. Graham Muter and Steve Hallmark lead the way in Class B9, the escort pair enjoying the stages. Howard Moore and Carrie Bosworth bring the unusual Lotus out for another outing and lie 2nd in the class, 42 seconds down on the class leaders. And it would be 3rd for Ian Barnard and Andy Bull in the Nova, as they lie just 3 seconds back from Moore at this stage. In B10 it would be Darren and Sue Underwood that lead the way. The pair have a 55-second advantage in the class and are going well at this stage.
Right in depth, medium left, straight jump, down 40, fast left, K right tightens, 30, bump slight left over crest dip at 40, slight right and keep right over crest jump, fast left, dip, bump, fast right 30, crest slight left, into slight right, don't cut, K left long, late, don't cut, 30, slight right and care, medium right.
Second of the class runners would be Dale and Mark Clatworthy in the Corolla. The pair wouldn't, however, have a good lead themselves. It would only be 8 seconds back to 3rd place Richard Bliss and Jamie Vaughan in the Civic. So the fight was on in the B10 class this weekend. In B11 it would be Graham Hollis and Ashley Trimble out in front, the pair with just a 21-second advantage in that class lead. A return to the championship after missing a few rounds for Richard Merriman and Kath Curzon is a good start with a 2nd in class at this stage in the event. while Graham Watkins and David Percival round off the top 3 in their class in the Escort. In B13 we see 10th placed Bob Fowden and Elgin Davies leading the class. And it would be second in class for Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt at this stage, the pair having a good run so far, 23 seconds down on Fowden in 12th overall.
Right by House, which goes to medium. Right. Straight up the hill, come on. Slight right by Signs, Creston, easy dip. So sorry, slight right by Signs to easy right and dip, fast left, keep in. Okay.
And one place behind in 13th overall would be Simon Chapman and Michael Calvert in the Metro, just 6 seconds down on Spencer after stage 3. So 3 stages down, and this is how the leaderboard is shaping up a quarter of the way through the event.
Three stages down and battles hotting up nicely throughout the field. Join us after the break on Special Stage.
The next loop of stages is a repeat of the first loop, and as well as the stages there wouldn't be much change in the results either, with Peter Lloyd and Carl Sorensen still heading up the leaderboard and increasing the lead to 18 seconds now.
You're happy with how it's going? No dramas, clean runs every time?
No dramas at all. It's a very lovely dry day, and you know, it shouldn't be any dramas on a day like this, hopefully.
For Damien Cole and Tim Sturla, it would still be second. The pair unable to gain any time on the event leaders at this stage, but at least managing to keep that second place.
Damien, you said it was going well over the first 3. You were slightly down on Peter. Do you think you've made that up over the last 3?
No, we were a bit quicker on each stage, but we weren't as quick on 6 as Peter was on 3. So I doubt if we've taken much, if anything, out of him on that loop.
Is that just him having a cracking day or something with the car? Or?
I think it's just the grunt in the newer car and the power. We always struggle when he's coming this way. This car seems to go better when we start a new road because it's more downhill.
No problems for Stephen Simpson and Patrick Walsh. They move up a place into 3rd. There was only 10 seconds between them and Cole, but with the pace at the top, that kind of time was going to be difficult to make up.
Steve, after the dramas on the first run through, how'd the second time through been for you?
Yeah, good. No problems whatsoever on that one. Clean 3 stages there, so took 27 off that one. So we must have lost a good 20, 25 on the stage 3 on the first loop, you know, so take some catching up now, these boys.
So it's a drop down a place into 4th for John Hendry and Peter James. There just didn't seem to be an answer. The pace was there on some stages, but not on others. But they continue to lead the 2-wheel drive crews and can take some comfort in that.
Flat left over bridge. 50. Flat 2 left over crest. 80 to square left, second slot. 200 up. Open 3 right, don't cut. Yeah, you hit the curb, yeah. See flat left, 200. Caution 8 left, tightens, watch his speed. Watch in case he punctured it. 200. Flat crest, 150. It wasn't that bad a bump, was it? No. Caution 4 left, past 4 left clip.
We put the right tyres on. For the first 2 little ones, I think we were equal to Lloydie that. So there we go, that's the pace. But we clipped a thing on that, clipped a curb, and that had to do a few corners. Think he might have a puncture. So I tell you what, I don't often agree with our esteemed leader, but in Motorsport News he said it was an epic pace, and I would say that is a fair assessment of the situation.
Second of the 2-wheel drive contenders would be Ashley Field and Ian Taylor as they continue to hold on to their 5th place. the gap to Indri in front growing slightly though, up to 23 seconds now. No change for Mark Worley and Michael Stewart in 6th place. They seem to be going well this weekend as they mix it with the front runners right from the start.
Yeah, well, I'm pleased with that. I mean, we've picked the pace up a little bit more as well on that one. Tyres are going off a little bit because we use these for the ALMC. And I think to get 2 rallies out of a set of tyres, I think might be expecting a bit much. So I think probably after the long halt, we might even put some new rubber on.
It would still be 7th place for John Stone and Elliot Edmondson. They guide the Skoda through the stages without issue and managed to keep that place 17 seconds behind Worley now.
John, you said you were getting back into the swing of things, and again it looks like that second run's a bit quicker.
Yeah, it felt much quicker than it actually was, but we're pleased with the pace, and Elliot's doing well, and yeah, it's great.
It is mighty, mighty quick over the tops, isn't it?
It's honestly, it's unbelievable. I mean, you know, it's just incredible. But good fun.
Yeah, are there moments where you're thinking, is it really flat over there?
Yeah, with a few underpant moments, but it was good. It was good.
For Washington James and Paul Williams, it would just be a case of keeping up the pace. Unlikely they would advance too easily, but to be able to match the stage times of those at the top would be encouraging.
Washington, how's it going? It looks like there's going to be a cracking battle between the two-wheel drive Darians today.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think we've lost out now. We lost front brakes on the first 3 stages, so we're just matching the times now.
Happy that the brakes about though, the pace is definitely there in the car?
Oh, the pace is there, definite, yeah.
For Elan Pritchard and Steve McPhee, it wouldn't have been the best of starts, sitting way off the expected pace in the first loop and only just climbing back up the results now. But 9th place was a step in the right direction. And we still see Bob Fowden and Elgin Davies rounding out the top 10. But sadly for the pair, that would change as we lose them in the next stage. Unfortunately, this loop of stages sees us lose Simon Chapman and Michael Calvert as they retire the Metro from their good class position. In the classes, it would still be going well for Karen Watkins and Sharon Roberts in the N3 class after stage 6. Conor Corkle and Mark Perryman were making the N4 class lead look easy, extending that to over 5 minutes now. And it would still be Julian Barnett and Chris Williams who take up that 2nd place, going well but unable to advance on the class lead. No change for our sole A6 class runners David Earthy and Den Golding as they make it to the end of another loop of stages. There would be a little change in B9 but only in the times as Graham Muter and Steve Hallmark open up a bit more of a lead in the class, now up to a minute. This means it's still 2nd for Howard Moore and Carrie Bosworth, but the lead wouldn't be where they were looking. They would be keeping an eye on 3rd placed Ian Barnard and Andy Bull as they stay close, just 6 seconds behind Moore. The B10 class wasn't seeing any change either, with the Nova of Darren and Sue Underwood staying out in front and up to almost 2 minutes of a lead in the class now. While Dale and Mark Clatworthy remain in 2nd place, unable to chase down any of the leaders, but they do extend their 2nd place advantage. And in 3rd it would still be the Civic of Richard Bliss and Jamie Vaughan. In B11 it would be change at the top as Richard Merriman and Kath Curzon take the Darien up into that class lead. Not a big one though, just 7 seconds at this stage. For Graham Hollis and Ashley Trimble it's a drop to 2nd in the class. Certainly not bad going still, just a little extra pace would need to be found. And rounding out the top 3 in class, Anthony Morgan and Jonathan Hawkins. In the B13 class, it would still be Bob Fowden and Elgin Davies who lead until their retirement on the following stage. Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt lie in second and are set to move up the order in the next loop. While Kevin Tappan and Mark Milton bring the Escort back into service third in B13. Halfway through the event now, and the results are looking like this. On to stage 7, and there wouldn't be a change in the lead. Peter Lloyd and Carl Sorensen still top the results sheets at this stage by 24 seconds. For Damien Cole and Tim Sturla, it would still be second. There was just no catching the leader, but they couldn't back off with so many behind wanting that second place from them. Stephen Simpson and Patrick Walsh keep up their third place, but the times now showed them 23 seconds behind Cole. Another overshoot in this stage wouldn't help with the fight for that second place. John Indry and Peter James make back a little time to close the gap to Simpson by just a few seconds. Just 9 seconds separates them now from the podium places. For Ashley Field and Ian Taylor, it would still be 5th place, but unfortunately that would change on the following stage when they retire in service due to a member of their service team being taken out of action on medical grounds. So for Mark Worley and Michael Stewart, it would be 6th still at this stage, but everyone in this half of the results would be due a shake-up in the next stage. John Stone and Elliot Edmondson end stage 7 in 7th place, the gap to Worley in front growing slightly, the Subaru possibly having a little extra power behind it on these longer stages. For Washington James and Paul Williams, it was still all about holding on to the position and waiting to see what happens ahead. The times were still good, and it would be 8th place still for the pair. No more increase in the pace for Elan Pritchard and Steve McPhee just yet. They remain in 9th place, but looking like the rest of the day could be used to gain some places for the Focus pair. And with the loss of Bob Fowden, the top 10 is now rounded off by the Escort pairing of Ian Kevin and Ian Meakin. Unfortunately, we lose Roger Hicks and Richard Souter in this stage with engine failure in the Escort. Bad luck again for the pair, unable to get the new car to work how they wanted it just yet. No change in the classes for Karen Watkins and Sherry Roberts in the N3 class, bringing it home for that class win. Conor Corkill and Mark Perryman continue to lead the way comfortably in the Subaru in the N4 class. Their lead now up to just over 6 minutes from their only other class rivals Julian Barnett and Chris Williams in 2nd place. David Earthley and Den Golding continue their run in the class lead of A6. In B9 we still have Graham Muter and Steve Hallmark out in front with a 1 minute 15 second advantage. That advantage over 2nd place Howard Moore and Carrie Bosworth in the Lotus. However, for the Lotus pair it would still be a close battle, as 3rd placed Ian Barnard and Andrew Bull are close behind them, just 6 seconds at the end of stage 7. In B10, Darren and Sue Underwood open up their lead a little more, the advantage now up to 2 minutes 42 seconds. For Dale and Mark Catworthy, it would still be 2nd, but the good news for them is that the gap to 3rd was growing slightly now and was up to 31 seconds. So for now there was no change to 3rd as Richard Bliss and Jamie Vaughan maintain that position for another stage. In B11 we see Richard Merriman and Kath Curzon holding on to that class lead they gained in the last loop of stages, the lead now growing slightly to 13 seconds. 13 seconds over this crew, second place Graham Hollis and Ashley Trimble. The early leaders looking to be losing out a little on each stage now. And rounding out the top 3 still are Anthony Morgan and Jonathan Hawkins in their Mark II Escort. The loss of Bob Fowden sees a step up to the Class B13 lead for Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt, but that would be only a lead of 6 seconds. And it would be this pair chasing them down. Kevin Tappan and Mark Milton end the stage second in the class and knocking on the door of that class lead. So with some changes at the top, it would be a move into the class podium places for Neil Arden and Giles Corbett. They move into third place, themselves having some problems throughout the day with tyres and brakes, but at this stage it looks as though they have things under control for now. So one more stage down, and this is how those changes look in the overall results. Back to the overall results now, and for Peter Lloyd and Carl Sorensen, it would be the lead still, and no change in times. The advantage still 24 seconds with just 2 more stages to go.
Peter, Damien says he isn't backing off, so that means no backing off for you either, flat out to the finish.
Well, that's right. We just got to keep what we're doing now, and we should be okay. Another 2 stages, and just keep as we go in, and I can't see he'll take much time off us. If he does, good luck to him.
That means for second place Damien Cole and Tim Sturla, it would be looking more likely that the win would be out of the question. 2 stages was not going to be enough to make that time up. A win would only come if Lloyd was to have problems.
Damien, from the results it looked like Peter was pulling away, but you haven't given up yet, have you?
No, we're going to keep pushing. I prefer it going this way round, so I'm not sure what the times will be like on those 2, but we had a good hard try at it. I know Steve had an overshoot on stage 7, so he's dropped a bit further behind us, so that's the important thing for the championship, is to try and stay in front of Steve.
For Stephen Simpson and Patrick Walsh, there would be a small advance in the right direction on the times, now down to 17 seconds behind Cole. Sadly, this doesn't change the third place, but it is an encouraging sign to have that improved speed. All they have to do now is keep it tidy and avoid those overshoots and spins.
Steve, I know you're busy, I'll just grab you while you do this. How's it going?
Okay at the minute, yeah, not too bad.
You dropping back behind Damien, or are you catching him up again?
No, we dropped down on stage 7, we had another overshoot and lost about 18 seconds, so...
Bit of a case of what might have been today.
Exactly, yeah. Our own fault, our own making. We'll not catch it today either.
Fourth was still being held by John Indry and Peter James as they lead the 2-wheel drive contenders. With 30 seconds to make up to Simpson though, a podium finish wasn't looking likely. Mark Worley and Michael Stewart continued their good run and end this loop still in 5th place. The speed was there and the car was going well. 2 more stages to go, and all they have to do is keep it that way.
Mark, there's no other word for it, you're flying.
Well, it's going better. We've just put some new tyres on, and certainly it has made so much difference. I mean, we nearly caught John Stone on that one, on the previous one, so it's a long one, so they have made so much difference. So, yeah, it's good, mate. Brilliant.
Sticky tyres don't make it any less hard work, though, do they?
No, it does bring a bit of a sweat on.
For Elan Pritchard and Steve McPhee, it would be a move up to 6th place. Their slow start was coming right again now as they make their way up the results, even if it was at this stage. While it was tight at the top, the gaps were opening up further down the top 10. And for John Stone and Elliot Edmondson, it would be no man's land. Unable to advance, but comfortable in their 7th place, it would be a steady run to the finish and gain some more seat time in the car.
John, it might sound harsh, but you seem from the times just to be in that kind of bracket where pushing on is a minute, pushing behind you is a minute, you're steady and safe.
No, steady and safe. Try and learn it this way back, get some mileage.
Unfortunately, this loop of stages sees us lose Washington James and Paul Williams as they crash out on a deceptive left-hander. This would unfortunately put the Darien out of action for at least the next round in Wexford. Things were looking good for Ian Kenvin and Ian Meakin too, as they step up into 8th place, and with the loss of a couple of the Darien crews, this puts them second in the two-wheel drive crews.
Ian, there's no hanging around from these escorts today, is there?
No, we're doing our best. We have a few tyre problems. Now we just come back to service now and sort out the tyres. But yeah, we're pushing hard. We're pushing and trying to get...
Just in case that the tyres are just going off in the heat?
Tyres are shot to pieces there. We're going to go out of compound now and try that and see how we go and have another push. See how we go.
This loop of stages sees a move into the top 10 for Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt. The day hadn't been without its near misses, but things were going well for the pair now, and they step up into 9th place.
Adrian, will you be happy to see the end? This has been a long, hard day's rallying, hasn't it?
It has. I'll take a finish now. I'm getting too old for this. But no, it's been really good fun and it's been great and really enjoying it and pushing as hard as we can, and the result will be the result and we'll see where we are at the finish.
We also see a move into the top 10 for Kevin Tappan and Mark Milton as they bring the Escort Cosworth up into 10th place. This loop of stages would see some more of the crews fall victim to mechanical gremlins. We lose Gary Lacroix and Paul Hollingham with a clutch issue in the Corolla. And we would also lose Class B10 leaders Darren and Sue Underwood in this stage as they retire with engine problems in the Nova. 2 more stages remaining, and this is how the leaderboard looks.
As the crews head off into service for the final time, we're going to take a short break here on Special Stage, but don't go anywhere because the weather is beginning to look changeable. There could be plenty of late drama here on the Mewla stages.
In the final class battles, it would be Karen Watkins and Sharon Roberts who take the victory in Class N3. They may have only had themselves as competition, but half the battle is always getting to the finish. In the N4 class, it would be a 2-horse race at the end, but it would have to be 2nd place for Julian Barnett and Chris Williams, unable to match the pace of class leaders Connor Corkell and Mark Perryman, as they have a great run in an unfamiliar car. In the A6 class, it would be maximum points for David Earthy and Den Golding in the Citroen C2. In the B9 class, there would be some changes, as Howard Moore and Carrie Bosworth drop down from their 2nd place and end up in 3rd in class. Which means for Ian Barnard and Andy Bull, it would be a step up into 2nd place. A good run with a last-minute move into that position. But with a confident run to the finish, it would be the class win for Graham Muter and Steve Hallmark, over 2.5 minutes lead at the end of the event. In the B10 class, the loss of Darren and Sue Underwood means there would be a shake-up, and stepping up into 3rd in the class would be Craig Josie and Nigel Hewitt. Richard Bliss and Jamie Vaughan step up from their 3rd place to take up 2nd. Some good points for the pair in these final stages. But stepping up to take the class victory would be Dale and Mark Clatworthy. The pair hadn't quite been on the pace of the Underwoods, but they were there to pick up the win when it counted. With a couple of our B12 class runners in the top 10, it would be up to Richard Felgate and Mark Mason to take up 3rd in the class in 14th overall. And it would be a similar story in B13. Neil Arden and Giles Corbett round off the podium places in that class in 3rd place, a much better run over the final stages, even if the car was down on speed with its standard gearbox back in for this event.
And 1 right, crest jump, and 2 left, and hairpin right. 2 left, hairpin right. Well done. Just got that one right.
Unfortunately, despite being so close to the finish, we still lose some of the crews in these final stages, one of which would be Richard Clues and Will Rogers, as they retire from the event on stage 10. On to the final results though, and just outside the top 10 and third of the B11 class runners would be Anthony Morgan and Jonathan Hawkins in the escort. Graham Hollis and Ashley Trimble guide their escort home for a 10th place finish and will also pick up the award for second in Class B11. But rounding it off with a Class B11 win and 9th overall would be Richard Merriman and Kath Curzon in the Darien, a good result for the car against the competition here today. Unfortunately for Stephen Simpson and Patrick Walsh, it would be a disappointing end to a good run as they limped the car home in 8th place. Last stage problems forced the pair to go for damage limitation and take some points away from the event at least. Kevin Tappan and Mark Milton have their best championship result of the season with a 7th place finish in the Cosworth, things looking to be coming together nicely with the car now. And it would be a disappointing end to the day for Mark Worley and Michael Stewart as they are forced to retire from their fantastic 6th place when the engine started to overheat on the Impreza. Changes in the top 10 and some good pace means it's a 6th place finish for Adrian Spencer and Mark Hewitt in the B13 Impreza, meaning that they also bagged themselves the class win too. 5th overall would be a fantastic result for Ian Kenvin and Ian Meakin. The pair guide the Mark I Escort to the finish in a great overall position and also second in the Millington Rear-Wheel Drive Challenge too. For John Stone and Elliot Edmondson, there would be a mix of good pace and picking up the pieces to move them up into 4th place. Rallying is as much about endurance and reliability, and this result puts to rest any concerns that they may have had with the car on previous rounds of the championship. The second half of the day had been good to Elan Pritchard and Steve McPhee as they move up into the final of the podium places. A great finish from what started out as an off-the-pace run from the Focus pair. It would be a last-minute change at the very top of the results too, as we lose 2nd place Damien Cole and Tim Sturla in stage 10. The pair pulled over at the side of the stage and a blow to the championship points expected from this round. So that means that with some increased pace and misfortunes of others, it's a step up to 2nd overall for John Indry and Peter James. This puts Indry with a small group of others still capable of taking the championship overall win this season, meaning it would go on for another few rounds at least. But for this weekend at least, the focus would be on Peter Lloyd and Carl Sorensen. They take the victory after a convincing run throughout the day to hold the lead from the early stages. So before we speak to the crews at the finish, here's a quick reminder of the overall results.
Peter, it's an absolutely terrific win. You went out from the front and you haven't looked back.
No, I never looked back. From the first stage to the last stage, I was on it, and I wasn't going to be caught. I was confident I could win this rally today, and I've done it. I had no trouble with the car whatsoever. Everything was superb, you know. Bad luck for Simpson and Damien on the last stage. They both broke down. But that is rallying, you know. But whether they kept going or not, I was still would have won the rally. So, you know, I've done the job. The job is done.
It's one of them rare occasions where man and machine just seem absolutely tuned in together on it.
Yeah, well, when you drive with that sort of speed over Epping, the car has got to be absolutely spot on. Any distractions and you lose time. And we don't have any distractions at all day with the car. Everything went superb. So it's one of those good days, you know. It don't always happen like that, but it did today.
John, if we're honest, I think after speaking to you at the end of 9, we both sort of said, you know what, we'll just bring the car home, we'll push. But you even said, I think your heart wasn't in it, and you've come second.
I know. This sport, I'm mentally drained with it all, really. Yeah, once we heard Washy had rolled and that, it just thought, oh God, you know, let's get it. These boys on a different level today, you know, they're all pushing each other. We're skipping about, and but just to add to it, you know, we saw that air ambulance coming in for Johnny Big Boy, and we started the last stage. We don't carry a spare in here most of the time. We can. And we check the tyre pressure on the route. It's 15 going into the new road. And you think, here we go. So we're literally poodling through on the last stage. Not on the last stage, on the penultimate stage. And there's Simo pulling over. I thought, that's Andy Harry. Then there's Coley is actually parked up. Steve Simpson's actually still carried on. And then we got to the end, the pressure's a bit lower, so we literally just drive through the last one. You think, this sport, you never ever give up, But all right, we haven't done it on pace, but I think Simo's leading the Tarmac Championship. We're 2 points behind. I don't think if those boys go to Wexford, they can't go to Caerwent. I can, blah blah blah. It's all still there, really. It's bizarre.
Ian, we haven't really seen much of you today, but you've quietly and diligently gone about your work, and third place is your reward.
Yeah, no, very pleased. Taking that this morning. Yeah, we've had quite an eventful day. We've had alternator problems on a couple of the loops. We just on the penultimate loop we ran on just a battery, so we were very lucky to get round. To be honest with you.
Testament to the service crew and the work that they did to keep you in the rally, because you got to finish in third.
That's right. Yeah, no, boys worked well. Fair play.
And Epping is just a stunning, unbelievable place, and the stages are phenomenal, very, very quick, and it's been hard work today.
Well, it's only my second event in this car, my second event in 2 years. So, because Jason's been doing more events than me, so I'm very pleased, to be honest with you. Getting nearer the pace now towards the end of the day.
Steve, I don't know about you, but I'm not sure what to make of this result. It puts you at the top, but it could have been so much more. We're talking 50p potentially.
Yeah, we blew the anti-lag pipe off in the second to last stage, so we was happy cruising away for third place, which would have given us, some good championship points, but it blew it off, and basically all it was is a little 50p split pin that goes through, and it's broke it. So
it's not great for you guys, but as I said, you are leading the championship. Are you going to go over and do Wexford and then not Caerwent? Is that how it's looking?
Yeah, we'll probably do Wexford in 2 weeks. We'll miss Caerwent because we've got to drop one. And then I can see, looking at the points now, this championship won't end until the Cheviot. I'm confident of that.
Mark, top registered co-driver, and I think sometimes people say, it's the driver and it's the car and it's the excitement and the foot down and the go for it, but over Epping, the co-driver's role just cannot be underestimated. You're the man he's got to pay 100% attention to.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. There's no eye in team, even when it comes to drivers. Without sort of steadying the ship there and making sure they're going the right way, and keeping on the track, there's no game. We just got to make sure that things are read correctly. Drivers push him when he needs to push, giving them the cautions just, when you need to give them the cautions. But really, on Epping, you've got to be able to bring them home.
Because I think what a lot of people maybe watching it won't realise is that you're not just telling him where to go in the stages, you're telling him how to get to the stages, the timing. You've got to think. Some co-drivers even go as far as telling the driver, make sure you have the drink, where's the food. You organise so much more than just reading some pace notes.
Oh yeah, that's correct. I mean, at the end of the day, it's fortunately Epping has got 2 ways in, so that makes it slightly easier sometimes. But there's a lot of organisation. We're going out this end, we're going out that end. This is the time we need to be there. And again, like you say, the resources we want in there, the drinks, especially the drinks. If for some reason Adrian seems to drink an awful lot of water, that type of thing on the stages. But no, really, it's quite a complicated event. We've all got to sort of stay on our game, and give our drivers the best service.
Well, you've earned yourself a bottle of champagne and some good points towards the Co-Drivers' Championship. Enjoy.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
So, I think the technical term is cat amongst the pigeons. Steve Simpson limps to the end, scores championship points that puts him at the top of the table. John Indry will be a close second, and it's all to play for. But the man of the moment is Peter Lloyd. He wins the Mewla Rally. Thanks for watching Special Stage. We'll see you soon.